With this, I would like to move to the second presenter. The topic is Foundations of Parks, People, Conflict. It will be delivered by Dr. Andriy Romaniv. Dr. Andriy, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Andriy is the Associate Professor and Dean, Faculty of Geography, History and Tourism, academician Stephen Damianchuk International University of Economics and Humanities. So welcome to the session, and floor is yours, Dr. Andriy.
One moment, please. I'm sorry, my present you to see?
Yeah, I can see on the screen. Maybe you can put it in presentation mode. That's fine. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's yes.
Dear participants and project organizers of the Summerfield School, I would like to present to our attention the topic Foundation of Park and People Conflicts. The study of the problems of conflicts between the preservation of natural landscape and various types of economic activity was conducted on an example of National Park of the Ukrainian Carpathians. The Ukrainian Carpathians are part of the Carpathian Mountains, which cover a large area of the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Poland, Ukraine, and Romania. The Ukrainian Carpathians are mostly medium altitude mountains, predominant altitude of 1,200 above sea level meters above sea level, and the highest peaks reach over 2,000 meters. Despite the small area with Ukraine, the mountains of Carpathian play an important role in shaping in the climate, river network preservation, or rare species of plants and animals. In Andriy preserve the unique landscape of mountain system in the Ukrainian Carpathian protected areas of various ranks have been created. The most important are the national nature protection sites, biosphere and nature reserve, and national parks. They account for 12 and 6% of the Carpathian area in Ukraine. Reserve has the highest level of protection and of natural escapes and their territory. As a rule, no human economic activity is provided. National parks often cover areas where both unique natural landscape and Carpathian settlements are located. The main task their creation is to assure the sustainable development of the territory and land local community without human and environment. To the date, 9 national parks have been created in the Ukrainian Carpathians. The name of within a period and their foundation is introduced on the slide. According in the legislation of Ukraine, function of the national park preservation of valuable national and historical and cultural complex and objects. Creation a condition for organized tourism, recreation, and other types of recreation activities of national condition. Conducting scientific research of national complex and their change in the condition of recreation use. Types of conflicts on National Park of Ukrainian Carpathians. Disturbance in economic activities on the territory of National Park. Damage of the unique national complex of the territory due to natural disaster and dangerous physical and geographic process. Conflict of interest of national protection and organization of tourism and recreation activities. Problem number one of the Carpathian region, which leads to a conflict of interest, protected areas, forest, local competitions, deforestation. The Ukrainian Carpathians are the most forested region of Ukraine, have about 39% of the territory is covered by forested. The upper limit of the forest in the Ukrainian Carpathians passes of average and altitude of 1,500 meters above sea level. In the last 2 years, the rate of timber having in the Carpathian region has decreased due to cutting legal prohibition and the activity of local communities with often staying of way illegal logging. The main consisting of deforestation, disappearance of unique plant group fauna, violation of the hydraulic regime of river, climatic condition of the area, intensification of national floods as a core scientific damage of the economy. In the program of the Central TV channels of Ukraine for the last 5 years were present about dozen stories about illegal deforestation in the Ukrainian Carpathians. Among the official documents, a letter from the Minister of Energy and Environmental Protection and Minister Internal Affairs of Ukraine reckons the need in investing illegal deforestation of beech forests in the Uzhensky National Park. Within the national park, the Carpathian of Ukraine industrial timber having is prohibited but sanitary filling allowed here. The park administration scientifically using this, it submit for prevail the limits to such fillings to the Ministry of Ecology and Natural Resources of Ukraine. Quite large volumes of food that often harvested under the quasi-sanitary filling or the having area is larger than provided with legislation of Ukraine. The benefit of a larger selling timber has exceeded the minimum finest environmental inspectors. Very often sanitary filling out of the site of the windbreaks. However, the cause windbreaks is often small filling the cause both in a park, zemphers and areas adjacent of national park. Another cause of endangered spruce beech forest in the past. Spruce has a super-specific root system, retain moisture in the soil walls when rains and easily overrun by strong winds. Beech forests are much more stable and have better transpiration properties. The development of ski resorts in protected areas also lead to a conflict of interest with the also leads of deforestation for ski slopes and the construction for cable cars. In 2080, action and scientific events animate at Bacon the construction of new ski resorts with the in the basin of Chorna River, which provided for the construction of 230 kilometers of ski slopes, construction of cable cars, hotel complex, and according to the planned documents, design for daily service about 22,000 tourists. In the area of construction of the tourist complex are protected areas, hydrological reserve options, ichthyological reserve Chorna Tisa, national monuments, and local importance within the population of 42 species of plants and 51 species of animals introduced in the Red Book of Ukraine. There are also natural sites of international importance, Emerald Network. Many NGO and environment have spoken out the construction of the ski resort, but local community supporting construction because it's a depressed region and the resort will provide jobs and income for the local community. With the introduction of the green tariff for small energy in Ukraine, the problem on preserving protection valuable natural rivers has become especially acute. To date, about a dozen environmental harmful small hydropower projects have been implemented with a planned build more than 500 small hydropower plants in the Carpathian alone. Over the last decade, there have been conflict between local communities and environment activities against the construction of small hydropower plants in the upper Rosit, in the Prat, in the Chorna River, which would affect the natural landscape and the Carpathian National Park and destroy the most popular rafting area. The slide also shows the problems associated with the construction of mini hydropower plants in the Carpathian. NGO together with the Worldwide Fund for Nature have developed proposals that will present future conflicts, the development and small energy in the Carpathian in protection unicum landscape. Particularly valuable river areas of the Carpathian region of Ukraine with the natural reserves, the other protected areas were also identified. It is planned to be the concentration, hydraulic structure, and such sites. National park often cover areas inhabited by local communities that engage is traditional agriculture. For example, about 20,000 people live on the land of Synevyr Park, National Park. Agriculture, harvesting wild berries, mushrooms, other reasons that violate environmental regime. The most importable with the security regime farming. In the same time, annual humaning can be beneficial. Such meadows often grow a large number of red plants. Moving by hand without the machines does not harm the plants and allow the safe meadows from overgrown with forest species. At the same time, traditional perennial pictures damage the meadow cover of the high land. On the slopes where sheep or cows grass, the species composition for plants in depleted. The subalpine shrub cover in destroyed. Endangered vegetations can be replaced by wheat. Rose shelves are also formed on the slopes which are trampled by sheep. There are pastoral degradation of alpine meadow. Significant damage of the national environmental caused by the development of tourism in popular tourism destination. Most ascend the tourists of the high peaks of Hoverla with the Carpathian National Park lead to degradation of vegetation or contribute linear erosion. No less a problem is an installation of tents and light fires in foreign places. There is a need to build mountain shelters on popular tourist routes, which would be anytime unauthorized tent camps. Scientific training justify the norms and recreation laws of national complex. In the present stage, technique square have been developed that determine is a resistance of national landscape recreation laws. The main factor influencing the stability are the steepness of the slopes, the compromission of rocks, and the peculiarities of the soil and vegetation of the territory. Is considered a lowered impact with leads violated not higher than the second stage of recreation degradation when less 10% of the areas is affected by tourists. The first stage of research in the park of plan various activity, the establishment and protection zones is establish the landscape structure of the territory, the allocation of national territory complex that differs in rock composition, steepness, the exposed of slopes, soil, and vegetants. The slide present algorithm for the study of national complex of national park, the justice recreation and other activities with the territory. On the basis on the landscape map, further determine on the resistance and of landscape to recreation lots and norm of recreation lots. Map schemes built on the basis of finding allowed the selected those kinds of recreation which are distinctly tied of the areas elements of territory, agrotourism, balneological town, and line objects, water tourism, touring by a car, and those for which suffered landscape recreation protection on the park territory, sky, equestrian, bicycle, health tourism, and other. On territory of park, 5 types of national territorial complex were selected among with most favorable for creation natural territorial complex with the most suitable landscape recreation potential for more than 3 types of recreation nature usage. The basis of management of national parks is the function zoning in territory, which should also be carried out of the basic of landscape research of the territory. With national park in Ukraine, the law of Ukraine provided for the allocation of the following zones: the protected area, protective zone, the stationary recreation zone, economic zone. The slide present example for zoning to 2 national parks in Ukrainian Carpathians, the Carpathian National Park and the National Park Synevyr, clear zone and complaints with the law within the zone will avoid some conflict. Conducted landscape research in combination with a detailed study of vegetation and fauna allow you properly plan the zoning of the national park, which will help avoid a number of environmental conflict and ensure sustainable and balanced development of the territory. Some conflict can be avoided by strictly adhering of the legal norm of the current legislation. At the state level, legislative norm should be improved. The responsibility for compliance with environmental legislation should strengthened. In the order to avoid negative impact in the national landscape of national park and buffer protection zone should be established along the perimeters. Conflict of interest of national protection and tourist recreational activities is possible in the following ways: recreation and access of tourists expanded valuable territories, creating conditions in the park for the possible documentation of the tourism flow with the territory and reducing the load the central national objects, and in case of impossibility to equip the tourist infrastructure which would minimize the impact on the environment, in particular popular destination. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Andriy Romaniv. It was very interesting how the park people actually conflict lead to zoning of the protected areas. I quite like it very much when you look at the deforestation and how the tourism and then the hydropower company actually competed against the use of resources from the national park, also the farming activities, and that led to zoning of the protected areas. That was quite interesting. I liked it very much. Thank you once again.